If you know 3,000 words in English, you can pretty much say anything that you need to say. I'm teaching 3,000 words in 3,000 days. Let's take a look. Familiar. Some synonyms of familiar would be close, intimate, confidential, comfortable, friendly, chummy, easy. If I'm familiar with you, I'll probably be relaxed and I would make jokes. If I'm not familiar with you, this happens often. I'm not very familiar with someone and I make a joke and they look at me like, and then it just gets awkward. But if I'm familiar with you, you probably like my jokes. The song had a familiar melody evoking memories of her childhood. A familiar melody is something that you'd remember, a song you would remember, because you've heard it before. It's familiar. She quickly became familiar with the new software, mastering its features in just a few days. So that means to become accustomed to or comfortable with. His voice sounded familiar, but she couldn't quite place where she'd heard it before. So she knew it, but she didn't know where. Have you ever met someone who just looks familiar, but you're not sure where you saw them before? Maybe you saw them on YouTube. The old bookstore had a familiar atmosphere filled with the comforting scent of aged paper and ink. Familiar atmosphere means comforting, reminiscent. The old familiar story is a story that you have heard many, many times. It's important to be familiar with local customs when traveling abroad to avoid misunderstandings. So to be familiar with something means that you understand it. The opposite of familiar is unfamiliar. The noun is family. So familiar comes from the same word as family. Now, familiar just means you're comfortable with it, you're acquainted with it. Family means like the mother, father, brother, sister. The verb is to familiarize. And we use it reflexively. Familiarize yourself with. He familiarized himself with the new software. And that means to make himself familiar with. So it's a reflexive verb. We don't have a lot of reflexive verbs in English, but this one is. Reflexive. Okay. The adjective is familiar. And the adverb is familiarly. He walked into the room familiarly. He's very comfortable in that room. I really hope that you enjoyed this word. I want you to use it at least 5 times today. Like and subscribe, and please send me your questions and comments. I look at those, and if you have any questions about English, please ask. I will answer it in the comments. I might even make a video about it. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care.